And one was like, meditate 1 hour a day for a month, and then you open up to the universe. Well, I meditated 2 hours every morning. And at the end of the month, it was kind of like, okay, so let's have a conversation. And they're like, the first conversation we're going to have is to show you how you can do that meditation in one breath.
Yes.
So I was like, take a breath. And I was like, I could just feel it. Like, wow, it was amazing.
It
was
is
like,
amazing. And that's
like,
just,
so I wasted 60 hours for nothing. You should have stopped me along the way. It's like, oh no, we were having fun.
but you didn't
They
waste
were
it.
having fun.
Rare Medium with Deb Snyder, celebrating life's rarities, the people, places, and experiences that just might be a little bit weird. This podcast explores all facets of our energetic connections to each other and beyond. We'll dive into the depths of mediumship, psychic ability, intuition, near-death experiences, afterlife research, healing modalities, and more. Our focus is to bring you relevant and moving accounts with guests who share their authentic selves and their treks into the spiritual and energetic realms. We'll learn how those experiences shifted their perspective on life itself. Join us to be inspired by everyday people on their extraordinary journeys into the rare medium of the mystical world. Topics discussed on Rare Medium by the host and guests are presented for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional, legal, or medical advice. Hello and welcome to Rare Medium. I'm your host, Deb Snyder. In the studio today, I have my beloved mentor, Bill Sengel. Now, Bill and I have known each other since 2002, and when we met, it was a calamity, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but welcome, Bill.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
My honor, for sure. Now, Bill, tell us a little bit about your background and who you are.
Well, I started to receive knowledge and information from, we would say, the other side and other dimensions when I was a small child.
Okay.
Caused a lot of grief and agony back then.
I would bet.
I would know when someone was coming to the house or if the phone was going to ring, who was going to be on it. And my family was kind of like a little bit put off by that.
Just a little bit.
So I tried to shut it down for years and they kept coming back at me.
Now, when you refer to they, who do you mean?
Spirit. Well, different kinds of spirit. Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, Mariel, all of them. And
so what would be thought of now, a lot of people refer to those as like the archangels. That's the vibration. A lot of people assign to that.
Right. Archangel is a religious connotation. They refer to themselves as, Michael calls himself a mid-causal entity, and that has to do with the planes of existence as we move up. We're in the earth plane now. When we pass on, we go into 7 stages of the astral plane. Astral seeks love, the big Love, the creative love. In sensation, causals seek love and truth. Budaics and energy. Messianics in like higher emotion. And then there's the mental plane. I have one guide who comes in a lot. And a lot of them, there's many of them who have no name. Some of them have a number. I'm number 3,470,000. It's like, I can't remember that.
And they're just trying to make it easier for people to understand.
Don't.
Right. I can relate to that a bit. I am not someone who has a whole long list of guides that I call on, although I call up to the universe frequently. You and I have talked about some of my evolution over the years. I will get someone, especially in a dream state, where you just feel their presence and you feel their power, and you know when they're conveying information to you, it's different. Right. So it's not of me, it's coming down through me or giving me knowledge about something. And it's always fascinating. Well, folks, I have some funny stories to tell you about Bill and I. I am like the accidental psychic in a way because Bill has known me for a long time and has been for me the person who made some of this work really useful and feeling it and seeing it practice. I read a lot in books. Then I could call Bill and talk to Bill and see Bill, and he could physically demonstrate things for me that I could then really understand what I was learning. It made all the difference for me. Bill, can I tell them about the day that we met?
Yes, you can.
That's why I said it was a bit of a calamity. It set the course for very good, dear friendship. I was in a children's hospital with my daughter in Portland, Maine, going through some of her medical challenges. And a good friend of mine decided I needed a break from the hospital and that there was a mind, body, spirit fair going on in town. I was, of course, just starting to get into all that stuff. And she thought it would be a really good opportunity to break from the hospital. She and I headed out and left my daughter with my husband and family at the hospital, and off we went. Well, we're walking around the fair and I come across this gentleman here who's sitting at a table with a dowsing rod, just sort of going, that's right, just sort of going back and forth. And I just felt like this. This is how I felt like, whoop, full toward. I put my name on the list. Just as I was like writing my name on the list, the person who was sitting with him almost like, I didn't have to wait very long. We sat down for what's called spiritual life readings. It's not limited by psychism or mediumship. It's not in a smaller container. It encompasses a lot of those things. It's very vast and expansive and multi-layered. We sat down to talk, and this dear man, he ignored his timer. We probably sat down for 2 hours. I think everyone else at the fair was very annoyed by us, but he just felt it. And he was able to give me tremendous information about my daughter, about some of the connection that I already felt and some very poignant things. He got to a point where he was hearing from one of my guides. What you had said that they weren't clear on their name. It was,
well, the name they showed me and said to me, I couldn't pronounce it and I couldn't read it because it was not letters like we have and symbols and all that stuff. And
so hard to understand. So he said, I can't even figure out kind of what this is, but he's with you. And he said to call him Chucky. I just laughed because I'm thinking all these people, they have Seth and Ariana and all these epic, beautiful names of their guides. And Chucky was going to keep an eye out for me. I just thought it was a laugh. Bill had said to me, Chucky will make himself known to you. We made plans that day after sitting for all that time that we knew our time together wasn't done. And so we knew that we would work together, and we haven't stopped.
No,
we really haven't stopped. This was 2002. We haven't stopped since then. I get back to the hospital and I'm conveying my day, a couple hours that I was out to my husband. I told him the story about Chucky. He's so darling. He's like, looks at me with a raised eyebrow, like, okay. I'm glad you had a good time out. Exactly. We're sitting there with our daughter. And then all of a sudden we were in a hospital room with a glass wall because my daughter was very young at that time. And it's so the nurses could keep a really close eye. All of a sudden we could see through the glass wall. This nurse stopped, threw her hands in the air and yelled, Chucky! Mark and I just like, what is she talking about? And he was thinking, oh, wow, boy, I guess he's making himself known. Well, it didn't stop there, folks. All of a sudden, who she was yelling at was a giant Chucky Finster from the Rugrats. That children's show where little redheaded Chucky Finster, they were at the local performing arts place and they came over to the children's hospital to visit, of course, with the kids like my daughter that couldn't go to the public event. So here comes, he was larger than life, this gigantic Chucky Finster into our hospital room. And walks over to Reagan's bed. And now at this time, my husband and I are like, we can't even believe it. So this guy, of course, he's all big and fuzzy, just like one of those dressed up kind of things. And Reagan, who is legally blind, turned right to him and smiled. and she could just feel this energy. And of course, it was the lift that we all needed. And I will make sure I have pictures of this. I'll make sure I put this on our episode so people can see her radiant smile about it. If you could ever have a validation of your guide, making sure they're known in your life, that was it. An amazing thing. And don't you know, I contacted Bill within a few days to share that story with him.
That was fabulous.
It was awesome.
Right.
And that's how I tell people all the time. I said, they'll make themselves known. Don't try to force in the way it comes, because would have I ever predicted a 6 foot tall animated
I know.
character? Just such a cute vibe about it, you know, around my daughter, where my fears were at that time, where my energy was at that time. It's exactly what
And
I
you
needed.
relaxed.
I did.
Yeah.
I did
That's
relax
the
about
whole
it,
thing, you know?
because you got to have fun with it a little bit. These are serious subjects oftentimes. Obviously, what we're going through, especially when we're going through hardships, is tough stuff, but it doesn't mean you can't elevate the vibration, because joy brings it in too.
They've hit me with things where it took a week for me to realize that was funny. You know, it's like, wow, you know, you're in your garden weeding, and then suddenly it's like, hey, remember that joke we told you?
They have a sense of humor.
They talk in similes quite often, and
Similes.
it's very short. There's no big, long dissertation. Succinct, to the point, gentle, easy, clear as a bell.
And this is, when did you start receiving them in that way?
Well, I resisted them forever and a day, you know,
Mhm.
because I was a male and it wasn't accepted. So around about the time when I turned 50, they really beat me up. And it's not like harm came to me.
Right,
It's just
right.
like they were persistent. And I was like, okay.
Well, they realized you're a receiver to their information,
Right.
and you could help imbue their knowledge to others.
Right.
So they were like, hello.
It took me to places, you know, I traveled all around the world, went into all the cathedrals and mosques and temples.
And that was in your career?
Yeah, during my career.
Okay. Bill, you were in the Merchant Marine?
Right.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time, sometimes a month, in places like Turkey and Egypt. Spent 6 months in Egypt, which
Wow.
was very, very interesting.
I would imagine.
And the thing is like past life stuff came back where, you know, I'd get to some place like that and I knew exactly where to go. Without having to get a guide or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, it's around the corner that way, 3 blocks that way.
Wow.
So obviously I've
neat.
been there before. Memory recall.
Wow.
You know, and you know, past lives are helpful sometimes.
I bet.
Especially if you don't know.
Exactly. What street? Turn left. Okay.
Take the old train.
Exactly. So you were saying, so at this point in time, while you were working in your professional career, you could feel the pull of the other side. Is that how you refer to it, the other side? I think everybody refers a little bit differently.
Right, the other side, you know, I mean, that's a common phrase.
Right, and people understand what you're talking about.
Right, because there are many other sides. There are many mansions of God, because I'm going to give you the directions and help you. So around about 50, fascinating, you know, just like Chucky kind of thing, where I got an assignment and I worked in the Virginia Beach area.
Okay.
In my profession. So there I was, and there they are. They put me there, and I hooked up with a teacher there who was, you know, a professor at was now Atlantic University.
Okay, so that's the
Edgar
Casey people.
So I learned all about that. I had, you know, I went every day. I saw her every day. She was the greatest channeler ever.
That must be a relief to have all this stuff happening in your life and then find someone other than yourself.
Yes.
That can do it and teach you techniques on how to refine it.
We record, you know, I have hours and hours of recordings and they're still valid today. Michael became the principal one for me. Before Michael, I had lessons and dissertations from Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there was one funny, I'll tell you a funny where people read like, oh, how do I do this? Or how do I be this? And one's like, meditate 1 hour a day for a month and then you open up to the universe. Well, I meditated 2 hours every morning. And at the end of the month, let's have a conversation. And they're like, the first conversation we're going to have is to show you how you can do that meditation in one breath.
Yes.
So I was like, take a breath. And I was like, I could just feel it like, wow. It was amazing.
It is amazing. And that's just...
so I wasted 50 hours with nothing. You should have stopped me along the way. It's like, oh no, we were having fun.
But you didn't waste it.
They were having fun.
That you learned how to navigate your own energy and how to send and receive and understand that. I know for myself, when my evolution from going into just psychic readings into working with more mediumship, I was blocking myself at that mediumship threshold because my own fears of getting it wrong or disappointing people, whatever it was.
The deciding factor for me. That's why I went to those people, because I look, if I do this, if I go, and accept this and promote it, I do not want to be wrong. That was a big thing with them. I do not want to be wrong. So they advised me to get a dowsing rod as like a barometer, like, okay, did I hear that correctly?
You find your yes or no?
Yes.
Off of it. Okay. People can hear something similar. They might use a body pendulum, or they might do
energy pendulum too.
They do muscle testing is another way in which people can see if they get their affirmations of yes or no.
Right.
So there's all kinds of tools and techniques. What I was going to say is when I was holding myself back from the mediumship portion until I found a method that I resonated with that opened the door for me that was simple. For some reason, I just stood outside that door all these years. Yes. I would get it spotty. The way I explained it is that spirit could come to me all the time. And there was many times I could do mediumship readings, but it wasn't me calling up. They were kind of coming down. It took a while for me to go, no, I can call up and have the confidence to do that. It's neat. But like you had said, I took a very long, what I used to do, this long ritual. Now it's down to like this big, real short.
One big breath and you can feel like your whole body vibrating. I can.
Well, that's right. Well, you've been doing it a long time. Now, Bill, over the years, we've done some sort of zany things as those sort of like science experiments and everything. One day I really remember was you were teaching me how to make a chocolate cream pie with energy. And he was literally testing my own abilities for cooking. And he was like, what do you sense? And he whipped this bottle at me that I caught. And because he said, what do you feel? And I said, orange. And it was orange essence. It can definitely be strange and unusual, but it was such a relief to me to have someone that I could.
And you could see the energy going through me into the pie.
That's right. So, literally, he was making this beautiful chocolate cream pie from scratch that would then be healing to eat the rest of the week. And I think anyone being prescribed to eat a chocolate cream pie is, that's kind of like the best.
You can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong with that for sure. Now, Bill, tell us a little bit about, what was it called back then? The Heritage Foundation? Is that the people that you worked with?
Well, I worked for the Heritage Store and I did phone readings for them.
Okay. Now, when was this? This was in the 80s?
90s and early 2000. Worked for them and did work, and it was fabulous. I spoke to so many people, and this brings me to this point, is that over the last 5 years, 95% of my sessions have been with psychic type people.
Mm-hmm.
They've come to me.
Spirit brings in, that certainly makes sense. Bill and I were having a phone conversation. This was probably about 10 years ago. We were talking about some malady I was having. He lives about an hour from me. He said, right here in your hand. And I can feel him touching my hands from an hour away as we're having a phone conversation. And he said, and now how about this? And I was like, yeah, that is better. It's interesting how it works. Tell us a little bit about when someone calls you for a session, whether it be, now you do both Zoom and phone. Tell me how a typical phone session usually goes with someone.
And I'll get some intake, like the name they were born with. And then maybe, someone's been divorced 5 times. So give me all those names.
You're right.
Date of birth, where you were born. And I will look at your soul group of about 1,000 souls in your entity group around a line around the globe. You pick these characteristics for this time and this time only, accept who you are.
So you'll talk about where people are from a soul perspective.
This is what you wanted.
To help them figure out their day in the life, their their waking life.
Right. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with your profession. How you're supposed to go through that.
Okay.
This is what you wanted.
Right.
And then the Michael thing's been followed a lot. I studied it for 7 years before I tried it. The Michael Handbook and the messages from Michael and the more messages from Michael. That's the books that I learned this from.
These are people that come in from all over the globe with messages. Yes. Okay.
Right. And I remember having been down among the Casey people and went to a bookstore and it's like, well, what do you want me to read? Right off the shelf. The book flies from the top. There's a receipt. And of course, the shopkeeper there, she looks at me and she says, I guess that's the one.
It's like going into the wand shop at Harry Potter.
Right. I finished reading that. It was like, wow, this is like.
Now, I bet you that shopkeeper could write an interesting book.
Right. Then I went back and again, and there she was, and I was ready for the next book. And she's like, well, should I put a helmet on? Whatever. And I'm like, just stand back and wait and see what they throw at me.
No doubt. It is interesting what can be put forth in our path. And that's, for me, it's not just books, it's people. And people come into your life for certain reasons. And it's not always for what we would assign as good, like, oh, it's going to be a positive experience. Sometimes it can be a real challenging experience, but it's always a learning experience.
Yes, it is. And the one thing I would like to convey to everyone is that, there's a thing where people say, I don't want negative energy. It's just energy.
Right. We assign good or bad when it's just energy.
Married and there's a torrential rainstorm, then, it's like, oh, but if you own the tent company and the umbrella company, it's a great day, isn't it? It's so positive.
Perspective.
Michael saying that there's a polarity in the numbers, right? So you tell me, what is the negative? Number one is about purpose as a positive. And as a negative, it's simplicity.
Every level has both.
Right.
The duality.
Enterprise is a positive and versatility is a negative. Wouldn't you like to be versatile? Oh, well, you're being versatile, you're being negative. No, you're not.
Right.
It's just looking at the other side. You're going to have negative stuff on this side. You're going to have positive stuff on this side. Glean from all of it.
Think of the yin-yang symbol. White, dark, some in each other. It's spinning at all times.
The law of this planet in a spiritual sense really is karma. I had to study karma in order to do missing persons or unsolved cases.
Mm-hmm.
I had to see the karmic connection. They taught me that.
I was talking to someone just the other day about why can't you find everybody that's missing? And I said, I used your name specifically. I said, well, my mentor said, not everything's our business. And that there are things that are part of a soul's journey, a soul's evolution.
Right.
Now, tell me about that karma and fate, destiny. Now, I also believe free will is a part of that. How does that play in? I don't think people go through life thinking that it's all out of your control. I guess I'll simplify my question. Do you feel that free will coexists with destiny?
Right. Well, free will is smothered and blanketed by false personality. That's what the Michael system will work on. It's like you have false personality.
That's interesting.
Said that,
well, I think what we'll do is we'll have Bill back on to do a deeper dive into the Michael teachings because it's very interesting. It's not something that you can do in a quick interview show. So let's do like a special thing on that.
Like, what would I do if you came for a reading or a session? Besides the Michael thing, I do tarot, I do crystals, aromatherapy, see a picture of somebody ahead of time, preferably with a white background. Send me a selfie with a white background so I can look and see.
Interesting.
If it's all in your energetic body.
You're looking at it, their auric body. Now, Bill, we talk a lot on the show with other guests about how people, they're clairs, whether it's clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience. Do your abilities come through like that as well?
Yeah. I receive things like a picture. They tell you, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Close your eyes. Okay. Oh, wow.
Right.
And I hear it, and then it comes out of the blue, and so with my students, is I don't want you to be like me. If you have a clairvoyant ability, we're going to work on that.
Right. Help them develop themselves the way they feel for themselves.
A lot of people will seek a teacher and they have an ability, but that teacher wants them to be like them. It's like, no, they're a medium, and so you should be, whether you're a clairvoyant or a clairaudient, you should be helping them to be what they are.
Now, Bill, we could talk forever, and we often do.
can.
We'll definitely have you back on. I think maybe we'll develop some sort of like little series where we hear from you on different subjects so people can dive in a little bit deeper. What we'll probably do is have that be an offshoot on my YouTube. We'll have a separate thing. So, Bill, we end every episode of Rare Medium by asking our guest Rare Medium's 10QQ. So it's the 10 quick questions. But are you ready?
I'll try to answer quickly.
Are you ready for your 10QQ?
Yes, go ahead.
Do you believe in the afterlife?
Yes, and I believe in multi-lives too.
Okay,
They
very
exist
good.
in many planes.
Very good. Simultaneously?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
You validated that too, and I told you, and you came back and validated.
Aren't I a good student?
Fabulous.
This is how we are with each other all the time. It's very annoying, I'm sure, for other people. What was your age in the best year of your life so far?
When I opened up with, working with the Casey people, it was around 50, but I have to say that right now, I think is the best life because it's like inculcation. I continue to study. I don't say, oh, I know it all now.
Right.
I want to know more before the end of the day. So I'd say now, because it's all wonderful.
There is a freedom in your older years where you have time to process. You have time to think. You have time to feel.
You can see change. That sapling that was in my front yard is now giving maple syrup. It's just big around. And I
Wow.
remember every year that it grew, and the climate change and everything.
Wow.
So I think now it's like, wow, this is all coming together, like for me.
That's right. Who's your favorite musical artist?
My son.
Where would you most like to travel?
Belgium, just for the food and the chocolates.
Now, what person has inspired you the most?
I would say Jesus.
Now, if you could have an entirely different profession, what would it be?
I like what I am.
What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my students, such as yourself and other ones that have gone out. They became themselves, which empowered them, and they're helping people. So it's like, I feel like I did some good.
Nice.
I mean, you want to leave this life like, did I help? Did I help? Did I help?
Yes. Yeah. Do you love yourself?
Yeah, why not?
What do you most regret?
What do I most regret? That I didn't do this sooner or earlier and I fought it.
In a word or two, what is your advice for your fellow humans?
Think differently. Don't be afraid to think differently.
Bill, thank you for being on. And we look forward.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you. We look forward to having you back. You can learn more about Bill at his own webpage, and I'll put the links in the show description. We'll see you next time. This has been Rare Medium with Deb Snyder. Please subscribe in your favorite channel and leave any comments you'd like us to see. To learn more, visit debsnyder.com or heartglow.org.